Hello, this is the podcast that must not be named, and I am Melissa.
And I am Luke.
And we are here discussing Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, chapter number 11, Aboard the Hogwarts Express. This chapter was 13 pages long, and it was 1.77% of this book.
September 1st arrives and the trio head to the kitchen in the Burrow, where they find Amos Diggory's head in the fireplace, asking Mr. Weasley for some help with Mad-Eye Moody, a famous great former Auror, a dark wizard catcher. Unfortunately, Moody's grown suspicious of everything recently and attacked what he thought were intruders with his dustbins. Mr. Weasley heads off, and the other Weasleys, Harry and Hermione, head to King's Cross Station to catch the Hogwarts Express. While on the train, the trio overhear Malfoy talking about the foreign wizard school Durmstrang and wishes themselves he had gone there instead. They sit and chat with fellow Gryffindors before Malfoy enters their cabin and mocks Ron for the dress robes thrown over Pigwidgeon's cage, and makes fun of the group about not knowing what's happening this year at Hogwarts. The train arrives in Hogsmeade, and all but the first years head to the castle on horseless carriages for the start of term feast.
All right, Luke, so it looks like we had a couple of people in this chapter that we hadn't heard of before.
Yeah, so we had a mention of Mad-Eye Moody. Seemed like a pretty colorful character.
Quite a name.
Right? And also 3 Muggle taxi drivers. Not unnamed. We meet them. They're a little frustrated with the bevy of animals that they're transporting.
This is true.
And, yeah, that's all I really saw, though, as new characters.
It doesn't look like we went anywhere new, right?
Moving location of the taxis.
But we've done that.
I'm sure they've driven this road before, so.
We've been at the Burrow, we've been at King's Cross, we've been on the train. So, yep nothing new. But we do have some new magicabulary.
Mm-hmm.
My personal favorite is the please men.
Right. I love that one.
I'm a big fan of the please men, because wouldn't it be nice if they actually were please men as opposed to police mans? Yeah, no, I like that. Please man.
Yep, I've always enjoyed that Amos Diggorism.
Yes. We get the title of a career, an Auror, which is a dark wizard catcher.
Say that 5 times fast.
No. You know me and the pronunciating of the words. It's not so great all the time. That you're setting me up to fail, man. What else we got there?
We've got Durmstrang, another wizarding school. So that's the second one other than Hogwarts that we've heard in this book.
This is true.
And it was something that Hermione was familiar with from an appraisal of magical education in Europe.
Everybody's surprised that Hermione has read this book. Raise your hand. Crickets.
I am.
Crickets. Why?
Really? Why are you reading this? Like, why that book? An appraisal of that compared to the other ones that she's read. This one's a little more surprising.
See, I could see her at some point in her Hermione-ness figuring out that there were other schools and deciding it's not just that she was reading about like there were other schools. It's the appraisal of the education. So I'm sure she's going through and saying, am I getting the highest quality education? Should I be looking at no, that's absolutely something Hermione would do.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I've
not surprised convinced. At all. All right. We heard about things that are unplottable.
Yeah.
I feel like that's an anti-coordinate grid lesson.
Basically, yeah. And we also have reference to Hermione trying to, basically reading her new book of spells. The summoning charm seems pretty useful.
To summon things?
Yeah, I'd say
Is
so.
Is it like a summon, like legal summons, or summon like get over here now? And then I don't have to wait for my kid to come and I can just make up.
Or is it like a calculator and it summons some
It's a summoning charm.
I don't think that's it.
Is there a producting charm and a quotienting charm?
A producting charm.
A differencing?
There you go.
Differencing charm? Yeah, okay.
Differentiationism, derivativism charm.
All right, we're moving on.
We're moving on.
We have a picture.
We have a picture.
I remember, and this looks miserable.
Yeah, right?
I mean, it's a great picture. I'm not saying that it's not, but it's like flooded luggage, an owl cage that's only partially covered, water on the floor, rain, lightning, thunderstorms. It's a little gross.
Yeah, it's bleak.
This is true.
Yeah. Is that supposed to be Hedwig?
I think so.
Well, she wouldn't be there. She wouldn't be
so
there.
it must be pig.
It has to be pig.
Yeah,
But-
I vote pig.
Yeah, just the fact that it's a white owl.
Yes.
And I think it could just be the coloration because it's supposed to show up in a closed area. It could just, maybe it's a gray owl.
Maybe. All right. I'll give you that. Or it could be just a random owl setting the scene.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I'm going to go with owl.
Okay, there's an owl.
All right. So what thoughts did you have here or there, Luke?
Oh, I thought the partial flu powder communication thing was interesting. What did you think on that?
Well, I like that that's their version of an urgent message.
Right.
I have to talk to you urgently. Head.
Right?
Hello. Hi. I don't have time to bring my whole body here because it's urgent. Except if and you weren't in the room where the fire was, I could just walk in the other room and find you.
That's exactly my point. Like, if it's urgent enough that you could put your head in there, just step through. Like, or is there like a different, like, does it use less flu powder? Is it less tax? Like, there's got to be a reason why this is a thing, as opposed to just being like, knock, knock, knock. Hey, can I come in for like 2 minutes?
Is it like their version of texting? I'm just going to pop my head in and not actually come all the way in.
I guess.
You could do it in your jammies. You wouldn't have to get dressed.
Yeah, that's true. There's the benefit. Maybe he just rolled out of
You can
bed.
still eat their food. I thought the toast was a
That
nice
was
touch.
hilarious. Yeah.
That was really funny.
Shoves a piece of buttered toast in his mouth. Thanks.
Yeah, it's awkward.
Another thought, those poor taxi drivers, like, they did not know what they were getting into when they got this call.
No.
Right?
And how are they being paid for?
How are they getting paid?
Yeah, like, who's got muggle money?
Oh, I think we've had this conversation a bit before. I feel like there's more interaction with muggles than it seems like. I mean,
all right.
But
Okay.
I
All right,
agree.
I'll let that one go.
I agree that, like, they play it up in the story as if they've never met a muggle before. That just seems surprising to me. But
Yes.
I just thought it was funny the way that the one got scratched by Crookshanks, who's the worst.
He's not the worst.
He's kind of the worst, but like there's also like the birds, like really loud, and I don't know.
These giant trunks. It's not like they're just. It's not like a carry-on
Right.
that they're putting in the trunk.
Yeah, I just imagine they show up here, which
Yeah.
if they can find it, the postal service can find it.
In which case, we could have easily mailed one back, except they were coming on a Sunday,
No post on Sundays.
There's no way that Harry could have responded on a Saturday and had the letter delivered in time because there's no post on Sunday.
Okay.
So
All right. I retract my statement.
no, I mean, for the most part, I agree with you, but that is the one caveat that it was.
There is
a
no
Sunday,
post on Sundays.
as has been firmly established in this
That
world.
is canon.
Literally. There was a whole chapter about it.
That was the whole chapter. No post on Sundays. But yes, toast on Sundays. I love toast.
I love toast too.
Yeah,
Now I'm
toast.
hungry.
French.
Yeah, toast.
Exactly. Get a little butter, get a little jam.
There's the derailment. I see it. It always comes.
You make toast. So my next thought, Bill, Charlie, and Mrs. Weasley teasing the kids about something going on at Hogwarts. This was much better done than Percy's pompous attempts that he had been doing all summer that we heard about. Where he was basically saying like, oh, like we got a lot of things coming up this summer, don't we? Or like this fall, and the kids don't know, but they can't know. It's like, get over yourself. Like, you're not cool. Like, just stop.
Yeah.
You're not cool.
He has absolutely no chill, to quote Lin-Manuel Miranda. Like, none. So he can't just like slide it in. Because when he starts, he's trying to cover something. He's trying to do that, as opposed to Charlie, who's like, yeah, I wish I was there. What do you mean there? oh, it's just, like he
You
just,
might see me soon. Or like what,
it just plays it well. Bill's like, I might take some time off. Time off for what? Oh, I would invite you for Christmas. Like, but with one thing, like they just,
I'm glad they changed the rules. What? Change what rules?
they just do a really good job, the three of them, Bill, Charlie, and Molly, of being very cash about it.
Naturally witty, It's not like, because Percy's very much like I have this planned joke. Here it comes. All right. I've been working on this for months. I'm just waiting for the perfect time to drop this comedic bomb on them. Like, no,
they're going to love it. It'll be so funny.
You're not cool. Get a job.
Just be the unfunny one. Somebody has to be the unfunny one in the family.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Scripted joke. Like, it's like, I'm just waiting for the right opportunity to use this.
A dad joke only works if it fits naturally in the conversation.
Yeah. And Percy. It's the worst.
Percy's the worst.
Him and Crookshanks and Snape are the worst.
In this book, though, Percy's
right
winning.
Percy. Yeah.
Sorry. Mostly because we haven't seen Snape, and all Crookshanks has done is scratch a guy. So Percy's definitely winning on the worst.
And then later on in this chapter, Ron is pretty frustrated again.
That's true.
A couple times already this book, he's been pretty frustrated. I think this was after Malfoy was in there, which we didn't really haven't talked on much. I think you have.
Oh, I have some Malfoy comments.
But after Malfoy leaves and Ron's, he's just frustrated. He's like, I clearly my dad he would be doing better things if he wanted to. He's just happy. And Hermione and Ron are like, and Harry are like, dude, we know, like, we're with you. like don't kind of take it out on us. But it's just kind of, again, Ron's going through some things, it seems like.
Yeah.
That's really all I had, though, this chapter, because I had the questions. So
okay. I have some stuff.
Let's hear your stuff.
I'm going to start with, why is Arthur Weasley the only one who can help Mad-Eye Moody?
So the way it's kind of portrayed, it seems like in his division, it can kind of be a minor offense because it involves Muggle things.
Got it.
As opposed to like a actually attacking somebody thing. It can be more of a, hey, can we play this up that like the real thing that was going on was some kind of messing with magical or Muggle items and just kind of have that be the thing?
That makes way more sense than the story in my head, which was like Arthur's the only one who can talk Mad-Eye down from whatever craziness is going on in his head.
Yeah.
Your way makes way more sense. No, that's what I needed. Thank you.
Yeah, because Amos is pretty much saying like, what is, the magical dustbins worth? He's like, maybe just a warning. Like it. So they're really trying to downplay what's going on. And there's a plausible thing that Arthur can kind of get involved and make that kind of the, what's the word I'm looking for? The infraction that is enforced. And it's just really a kind of not a big deal.
Okay. That makes more sense.
It's a good question though. Cause it's,
okay.
Yeah, it's like, you're the only one that can talk him off the ledge. Like,
I mean, that's really how every single time I've ever read this, that's how it's come across to me. So okay. I appreciate your help.
Sure.
Okay. My next thought is, so as they're collecting all of their trunks and animals and cauldrons full of underwear and getting ready for the taxis and the Hogwarts Express, does no one realize that Hedwig isn't there? I think it's really odd that not once in the whole time he's been staying with the Weasleys, Molly hasn't said, Harry dear, where's your owl? What's happened to her? Because she probably asked. So I want to know what lie did he say? Because he can't be like, oh, she is delivering a letter to my godfather, the escaped prisoner. And it's not like there's anybody he would be communicating with that she'd be gone. So I wonder why that wasn't on Molly's radar.
He does bring it up to her though. He says to her, right when they get back, he's like, hey, has Hedwig come back with a letter for me?
Right. And how many days were they there? She never came. Molly doesn't notice that? Doesn't say anything?
She's a little stressed with Arthur being gone all day. It's kind of played up that she was a little stressed, at least.
Okay.
But
I think she would have caught on to that.
I don't know that they were really there that long either. Seemed like they were there for a longer period of time before the Quidditch World Cup.
They were there for a day. They picked him up on Sunday.
That's
because
true.
There's no post. And then the Quidditch World Cup was Monday.
Yeah, that's true.
So, I mean, I'm not saying they were there for weeks on end, but it was several days. So I just feel like there would have been a comment of some sort.
Yeah, but
That's
maybe, I mean, whenever Harry's at Hogwarts, it's not like Hedwig's always around. He spends most of the time in the owlery. Maybe there's a barn that the owls hang out in most of the day. So, like, they're not, like, constantly checking
But again,
on them.
and I said it was as they were packing up. She's not going to say something? Empty cage, still no Hedwig?
Yeah, no, I can see where you're coming from.
Like, just a comment like that when he'd be like, oh, I sent her. Yeah, you didn't see her the other day? I sent her off with another, like, just something. But yeah, no, I mean, I get Molly's not a suspicious person, but like, I feel like she would have noticed.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about it.
Okay, so then we're on the train and it's Draco. Here's the thing. At one point, Draco is talking about how at Durmstrang, they actually learn about dark arts as opposed to just the rubbish defense stuff that we learn at Hogwarts. Remember that scene?
Mm-hmm.
Technically, I have to agree with Draco that the defense things they have generally been learning is rubbish. But it's not rubbish because learning about defense is rubbish, but because the teachers have been, for the most part.
Sure.
They have rubbish teachers, not a rubbish topic. Although he's not technically wrong.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. And how much is Draco really paying attention, even with good teachers? I mean,
and a good teacher is relative to the student.
Right.
Sometimes a good teacher is a good teacher, and sometimes a bad teacher is a bad teacher. But sometimes a student also will think a teacher is a bad teacher because they're just a jerk.
Yeah.
And Draco is a jerk.
Exactly. And I don't know. I mean, even Quirrell, I'm sure, wasn't completely inept. I mean, he definitely wasn't Lupin or anything, but I think he was better than Lockhart.
He's no Lupin.
Right. And he's no Lockhart.
Thank God. That guy dead yet? Simply the voice.
Never.
Lockhart never dies.
On Twitter and Instagram at SmarmyLukeHart. That's a true thing.
Yeah, he's not even kidding, guys. It's like, he really should. It's kind of funny. Only a little bit. Because you also don't have to hear the voice. You can just read it on your own. 2 more random thoughts.
Okay.
I'm moving on. Do you see how I did that? Did you notice that Neville was a round-faced forgetful boy? Are you freaking kidding me? You had to say it. You had to. Couldn't it just be Neville?
Let it be Neville.
How about even Neville Longbottom?
Sure, fine.
I'll let you last name him. It's fine.
Seamus Finnegan, Dean Thomas, Neville Longbottom. You know, the other 3 boys in Harry and Ron's room that they live with every year.
Yeah.
It's like, and now Tom's here too. Wait, who's Tom? Like, whoa, we know Neville.
Right.
But we know Neville. Like, at this point, come on.
He's established.
Come on, JK. Come on.
I mean, it's not like you open up Return of the King and all of a sudden you hear Samwise Gamgee. You know, the round-faced assistant to Frodo Baggins. No, by that point, book 3 Samwises. You don't need to keep telling us he's the gardener.
The gardener.
You've been dropping no eaves, sir. Oh, it's frustrating.
There are no eaves in Hobbiton.
Okay, and so my last thought is, just so you know, keeping out Crabbe and Goyle, still no words.
There was a chuckle last book at one point. There was some sniggering.
But there was definitely like a confrontation with Draco and the Malfoys, Draco and his croonies.
With the band, Draco and the Malfoys.
That's right. Who are amazing, by the way. Check them out.
They are amazing.
But really, there was just no verbalizing of the menace coming from them. They are simply just like statues.
They are thugs.
That's right.
That's it.
Hey, I've watched The Godfather, though. Even the thugs got lines.
Luca Brasi, right?
Exactly. I believe you have some questions for me.
I do. I've got 5 burning questions.
Nice.
Question 1. Do you think Durmstrang students actually learn how to use dark magic, like Draco says? That
was my answer. That's all I got. No, I don't know. the rationalist in me wants to say no, but they probably learn is what kinds of dark magic would be used against them. Do you know what I mean? Like, here is this slew of evil curses, as opposed to learning, like, maybe the theory of, here are the evil curses. Here's how to protect against those specifically, so you can recognize them, so you can identify them, not to do them, so what they are, but not how to perform them.
I completely agree. I feel like they probably have a more comprehensive, more consistent syllabus on dark arts, which is a problem at Hogwarts right now. We know. And so I think with that, the one thing that, kids are going to talk about is, like, especially Draco, you're like, oh, the dark arts are, like, way better there. And so you spin that in Draco's head to be, oh, they teach you, like, he's little kid brag stuff,
Right.
It's the story twists just enough. And you hear that and you're like, oh, it'll be so cool. We go there, we learn all these dark arts instead of just this rubbish defense stuff, because Draco totally talks like a drawling bro.
Doing bros, being bros.
Right. And so I don't think that they actually teach them how to use it. I think it's probably just a more comprehensive class, kind of like you were getting at.
I think so too.
Question 2, another Durmstrang question. Would you like to have a fur cape as part of your school uniform, like Durmstrang students do?
If it was cold, hell yeah. If it's cold, I will take whatever layers you will give me. And it sounds like a fur cape means I'm walking around with my very own blanket all the time. I'm in.
That sounds pretty comfy.
Yeah. You?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Be fine.
All right.
I mean, I guess faux fur would be preferable for all that, but
spray painted IKEA rug.
There you go. Sure.
Jon Snow it up.
Right. Yeah, I want mine to be a dire wolf. That's what I want. Question 3. Does Draco really feel so obligated to visit with Harry and friends? Like, he just has to stop in for his, I have to get my FaceTime with my pals.
It's like their very own sitcom, Harry and Friends, and then here's like Draco popping by.
He comes in like Kramer.
I was thinking Barney and Friends, and it's like the evil, like, weird cat person living next door. I don't know. My brain went somewhere weird.
Yeah, Draco would be a cat because he's basically the worst.
I'm woosawing past that comment. Okay. I feel like Draco needs to mind his own business. He really could just not come in. So kind of, yeah, I think so. He does feel obligated. Oh, I hear Harry. I'm going to go bother him. Do you notice that never once does Harry go find Draco? Harry does not seek out Draco. Harry leaves Draco alone.
He actively tries to avoid him when he can. They in this chapter, they quietly shut the door so that they couldn't hear him anymore. Be like, so he doesn't hear us either. Like, I just don't want to deal with him.
No.
It's kind of a one-sided animosity. It's like, from Harry's side, it's just reactive, right? I mean,
he's just annoying. If he would leave me alone, and like, if we could leave each other alone, we'd probably be fine.
Right. Yeah, not friends or anything, but it wouldn't matter. Like,
leave me alone. Leave me alone, 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 leave me alone. But Draco's like, ooh, it's Harry. I'm going to pick on him here. Ooh, it's Harry. Ooh, it's Harry. I think,
hey, I'm not touching you. Hey, I'm not touching you. Draco needs a sibling.
He yelled at me because you kept bothering him, but I wasn't touching him. Yep, that's Draco Malfoy.
Question 4.
All I got. There you go. Oh my God.
Question 4. Are there other entrances to platform 9 3/4?
There have to be.
Right? It just seems ridiculous that all of these students would go through this one barrier.
Hundreds and hundreds of students.
And families with them,
and carts full of elves.
And they all have to get there at the same time? Like, is it always just the Weasleys going at the very last second? Or is there, there's gotta be other families, right? And
then you've got a bottleneck there.
It just seems impractical to me.
You have a line lined up to walk into a wall. How is that hidden?
Right. I want to see the security cameras around here. Like, how did that many people nonchalantly, secretly walk through this wall?
Well, let me ask a different dumb question. Let's say I live in Edinburgh.
All right, you live in Edinburgh.
And I'm a wizard and I'm going to Hogwarts. Do I need to travel all the way down to London to get on the Hogwarts Express in London? But I live in Scotland, and you know that Hogwarts Castle is not that far.
Right.
I mean, it's really relatively significantly closer to my home in Edinburgh than it is to London. Why am I going to London to ride like a 7-hour train?
And why don't they just have flu powder into the castle?
Or
and
stops.
then they're just there.
Or stops along the train.
Yeah. Oh, we're gonna stop
and
by
what about the
Newcastle.
people from Ireland?
Yeah.
Take a boat.
Yeah.
I see. Okay, that's all. I did not answer your question. I'm sorry.
No, it's exactly the same type of question though. It's why?
Logistically, it does not make sense.
It's neat. Like, it's cool. I love the train. I would love to take the train.
I would love to take the train too, but not if I lived on a different island.
And the castle is in Scotland. Why would I go to London?
Right.
Like, I know it's not plottable, but can I just be like, hey, I'm like 20 feet away. Can you just like drive me in to Hogsmeade?
It's literally like living in St. Louis and having to fly to Denver to get to like Philadelphia.
Right.
It doesn't make sense.
What if you lived in Hogsmeade? Because it's a wizarding community, right? Like, there's
I just walk. There. They probably it's kind of like the people in the school districts that don't get bus service if you live within a mile of the school.
Right. They're just like, you could walk.
Right.
But if you live just outside that,
but at the same time,
it's not like the bus comes to your house.
No,
you have to go 200 miles away.
Think about that. What about the people who live farther away from King's Cross? So let's say I live far away from King's Cross, and I don't live anywhere close to Hogwarts, but I live far away from King's Cross, and it's going to take me 2.5 hours to travel to King's Cross.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's person B, whose house is 15-minute walk, half an hour car ride from Hogwarts. I get making the 2-hour trek to London, maybe, if it would be a longer trek to Hogwarts. But if I live within even an hour's car ride or something of Hogwarts, I'm not traveling back the 5 hours or whatever to get to London. That seems counterproductive.
Seems asinine.
Yes.
It's just silly.
True.
Good questions, though.
Okay.
Question 5. Do you think Crouch will learn Percy's name soon? As Fred insinuates.
Soon is a relative term. I believe that he will at some point before the ending of his career learn Percy's name. I'm going to guess it's going to take at least several more months, minimum.
Reasonable.
Because I have like a random reason for this. Because he learned it wrong. And when you learn, like when you don't know information, you have no synapse in your brain at all. So when you learn it, you create a synapse. But if you learn something wrong, it's much, much harder to delete the wrong information than it is to create a new synapse out of no information. Does that make sense?
It does. I can't say I 100% agree with that every time, because sometimes you can just substitute things, and that's actually easier because that path is already created and you've manipulated it as opposed to recreating a new thing.
No, you still make a new path. Your brain, that's literally how your brain works. You make a new path, but you have to train your brain to travel the new path.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely tougher.
Do it. Yeah. I mean, both things are hard. It's easier just to know things. But if you learn it wrong, I can see that being, especially when, quite frankly, it doesn't seem like Mr. Crouch cares that it's a problem. And Percy would have to say something, which we did not see him do.
Right. Yeah. He seems to be okay with just being recognized at all.
Yes.
Like, hey, he called me the wrong name, but he called for me. Reasonable.
True. So, Luke, I think you might have a favorite line or two.
Isn't he that nutter? Your father thinks very highly of Mad-Eye Moody, said Mrs. Weasley. Yeah, well, Dad collects plugs, doesn't he? Said Fred. Said Fred quietly as Mrs. Weasley left the room. Birds of a feather.
That is exactly the line I was going to choose.
Was it?
Like, I had it in my own notes that I take. And as I was transferring all my notes over, I was like, oh, I got to put my line in. He took my line.
What a jerk. He's
the worst.
I am the worst. That's factual. What was your
True.
favorite line?
Think of the possibilities, said Ron dreamily. It would have been so easy to push Malfoy off a glacier and make it look like an accident. Shame his mother likes him.
That's a good one. I like that one.
I'm a big fan of the Weasley Burns. They're just good.
Yeah, they are.
High quality in that family. That was a good one. So who was your MVP?
This is a bit of a carryover from last chapter and into this chapter. I had a little bit of a hard time picking one this chapter because, again, it's like a bunch of little mini scenes like last chapter was. It's, again, kind of, hey, we're moving things to get us back to school. I'm going to go with Arthur. Kind of like I said for this chapter, last chapter, just kind of working so hard, and here also kind of going out of his way even when things are so stressful, and he's already working this crazy overtime to go help this friend out. We don't know anything about Mad-Eye Moody, but I mean, it's kind of cool of Arthur to make that sacrifice to help him out. I mean, clearly he respects him, so it's just nice to see him being a good guy, I thought. Exactly. He's out there being a dad. Who was your honorable mention?
So I agree. It was kind of tough to pick. Not that there weren't good characters, but
It wasn't
who's
really
a
a standout. Yeah.
And so I went for a small standout.
Perfect.
We discussed this moment earlier, but I'm going to go with Charlie, which is good because I feel like he's the least known of the Weasleys. So I'm very excited I was able to do this.
Mysterious.
That's right. But it's because right before the Hogwarts Express leaves, after we load all our stuff on and we hop down to say goodbye, Charlie starts the conversation with, I might be seeing you sooner than you think. You'll see, said Charlie. Just don't tell Percy I mentioned it. It is classified information until such time as the ministry sees to fit to release it after all. So it's like he started it. Oh, and Bill and Molly were right there. They were with him, but that was all Charlie. And I appreciate that little moment.
I very nearly picked Charlie for that exact thing also. And then I kind of had the same thing that you were just talking about. Like it would be hard not to also pick Bill or Molly there for following it up as kind of a group act. But yes. I definitely was leaning towards Charlie as well. So I completely agree with your pick.
Awesome. Ooh, hey, look, it's been a while since we've actually agreed on a lot of things.
We're not here to agree. We're here to challenge each other.
But we did good today.
We did a good
Don't
job.
make it worse.
We did good things. Nice work, team.
And on that note, we're going to end on a positive and say goodbye. Feel free to find us in a variety of places. Find us online at thepodcastthat.com, where you can buy your very own The Podcast That t-shirt. Find us on Twitter at NotNamedPodcast. And you can email us at notnamedpodcast@gmail.com.
Subscribe, like, rate, leave comments on iTunes and YouTube. And be sure to listen to this Not Named podcast on Radio Public. It's free, easy to use, and helps listeners like you find and support shows like ours. When you listen to our show on Radio Public or any of the shows at thepodcastthat.com using Radio Public's Android or iOS app, everybody benefits.
Be sure to tune in next week when we discuss chapter number 12.
Say that one more time. Internet glitched.
Tune in next week when we discuss chapter number 12.
The Tri-Wizard Tournament. Stay imaginary.
Thanks.